Class, I'm recording this video because I won't be able to meet you again tomorrow, Tuesday, in the morning because we will be having a meeting for SEA faculty. So that's why I'm recording this now. But I hope I could explain it to you in a way that you could understand it easily. So let's continue our lesson in statistics. Here, our next topic is the frequency distribution. And for frequency distribution, we have a raw data wherein the data that have not been organized or manipulated in any manner are called raw data. It's like if we are talking about, for example, a fish is raw or it's still fresh. It is not yet being manipulated or organized by statisticians or by other people. Okay, so a large collection of raw data may not provide much readily observable information since it is a large collection of raw data. Now, a frequency distribution, which is a table list observed events and the frequency of occurrence of each observed event, is often used to organize raw data. So we use this frequency distribution if we have raw data. So for instance, consider the following table, this table, which lists the number of laptop computers owned by families in each of 40 homes in a subdivision. So here, class, the boxes here represents the families or homes. So we have it says here that we have 40 homes or 40 families. So can we count it? We have 2, 4, 6, 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So we have a total of 40 homes in a subdivision. And the number inside the box represents the number of laptops each family owned. So the number of boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up to 40 represents the number of homes, which is 40 homes in a subdivision. And each home, for example, this is your house. You have 2 laptops here. This is your neighbor's house. They have 0 laptop. So gets? Now let's move. So the table below is the frequency distribution of the table above. So this is now the table of a frequency distribution table. Observe event number of laptop computers. So here, the numbers here represents the number of laptops each home or each family has. So if we're going to look at it, we have 0 to 7. So can we check the the table above? So if we're going to look at this table, we can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we have 6 here? None. We don't have 6. We don't have 6 laptops for a family, but we have 7, which is this one. So that means that here, our observation here is correct that for family with 6 laptops, we doesn't have any family that has a 6 laptop. So here, the frequency number of household F with X laptop numbers. So in here, guys, the number 5 here means how many families doesn't have any laptop. So if we are going to check again the previous table, have here 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5. So we have 5 families who doesn't have any laptop. So is this correct? Yes. Again, let's check for families that has one laptop only. So we are expecting 12 families. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So our frequency table here is correct. So if we are going to continue this, you will get the exact number here, which is for families with 2 laptops, we have 14 families. So this row indicates that there are 14 household or families or houses with 2 laptop computers. So did you get that, class? So the formula for a weighted mean can be used to find the mean of the data in a frequency distribution. The only change is that the weights W1, W2, W3 to Wn are replaced with frequencies. So, class, papalitan lang natin yung weight dun sa weighted mean natin kanina, papalitan lang natin siya ng frequency. So, this procedure is illustrated in the next example. So, find the mean of the data displayed in a frequency distribution. So here we have to find the mean of the data in the table below. So observe the event number of laptop computers. So this data is from the given table above this one. Okay. 5, 12, 14, 3, 2, 3, 0, 1. So this is the same. So observe events number of laptop of computers. These are the number of laptops a family or a house could have. And then this is the families who have this number of laptops. So, okay. For the solution of this, given this data, to get the mean of this one is still the summation of the number of laptops times the frequency. For the weighted mean, we have the number or the x times the weight, right? If you would remember our lesson earlier. So let's proceed. So we have 0 laptop for 5 families, this one. We have 1 laptop for 12 families. So 12 families have each of the family has 1 laptop. So for this one, we have 14 families who have 2 laptops each. Then we have 3 families who have 3 laptops each. This is the frequency. This is the number of families, okay? So in here, the denominator would be, again, same with the weighted mean. The only difference is that we have to add the total frequency, not the total weight. Okay, so we are going to add this. 5 plus 12, 17, plus 14, 31, 34, 36, 39, 40. So, okay, we have 40 in total frequency. Then we have to get the numerator, which is 79 divided by 40 is 1.975. The mean number of laptop computers per household for the homes in the subdivision is 1.975. Okay? So let's move. Here we have the measures of dispersion. This measure of dispersion is still under the descriptive statistics. Okay? So first we have the range. The range in the preceding section, we introduced 3 types of averages, values for a data set: the mean, the median, and the mode. Some characteristics of a set of data may not be evident from an examination of averages. For instance, consider a soft drink dispensing machine that should dispense 8 ounces of your selection into a cup. The table below shows data for two of these machines. So we have two machines. So our expected mean or the average that we should be getting from this machine is 8.0. So let's try to observe these data for the machine 1. So for the test 1, it is giving 9.52, while the machine 2 is 8.01. The test 2 is, the machine 1 is giving 6.41, while the machine 2 is 7.99. Test 3 for machine 1, 10.07. Test 3 for machine 2, 7.95. Test 4 is 5.85. Machine 2 is 8.03. So for test 5, we have 8.15 for machine 1 and 8.02 for machine 2. So the mean data value for each machine is 8 ohms. However, look at the variation in data for values for machine 1. So can we check? If we're going to look at it, it is inconsistent, or it is not precise that we should be getting data like for machine 2 that it is near to our mean. Our mean is 8, and the results we are getting is 8.01, 7.99. So the quantity of soda dispensed is very inconsistent for machine 1. It's very inconsistent. In some cases, the soda overflows the cup, and in other cases, too little soda is dispensed. The machine obviously needs adjustment. Machine 2, on the other hand, is working just fine. The quantity dispensed is very consistent or very precise with little variation. So here, the range of a set of data values is the difference between the greatest data value and the least data value. So it is the difference, class. So if we're going to get the range for machine 1, it should be 10.07 less 5.85. So that is the range. Okay? So find the range. Find the range of ounces dispensed by machine 1 in the table below. So again, I told you it should be 10.07 less 5.85. So for machine 1, the greatest number of ounces displayed is 10.07 and the least is 5.85. Therefore, the range of the numbers of ounces dispensed is 10.07 minus 5.85 is equals to 4.22 ounces. So this is the range for machine 1. So let's move to the standard deviation. The range of a set of data is easy to compute, but it can be deceiving. The range is a measure that depends only on the two most extreme values, and as such, it is very sensitive. A measure of dispersion that is less sensitive to extreme values is the standard deviation. So the standard deviation of a set of numerical data makes use of the amount of which each individual data value deviates from the mean. This deviation or difference, deviation means the difference, represented by x minus the x bar. So our x bar here is the mean, and our x here is the sample or our result. If are positive when the data value x is greater than the mean or the x bar, and are negative when x is less than the mean x bar. So the sum of all the deviations, so we have to get the sum of all the deviations of all the result, is 0 for all sets of data. This is shown on the right side table for the machine 2. So we have here this standard deviation is represented by this formula. x minus x bar, wherein x is our test result here. So 8.01 minus 8, because 8 is our mean, right? It is given in the problem. So it is 0.01. For the next test, it is negative 0.01 because our x here is 7.99. So here we have 7.95 minus 8 is 0.05. We have 8.03 minus 8 is 0.03. And again, 8.02 minus 8 is 0.02. We are going to get the sum of all this. If we are going to get the sum of all this deviation, we would get 0. Okay? So the standard deviations for populations and samples, if x1, x2, and x3 up to xn is a population, again class, we already tackled this population of n numbers with a mean of mu. The mean for a population is mu, right? And the mean for the sample is x bar. Then the standard deviation of the population is this one. This is symbol for the standard deviation of population, equals to the square root of the summation of x, or the sample, minus our mu, or the mean. This is mean for a population given, squared. So over n, wherein the n here is the number of samples. Okay? Or the number of sample population. Okay? Next, if x1, x2, x3, xn is a sample of n numbers with a mean of x bar, so we will use this x bar if our mean is taken from samples. So if our mean is taken from a population, we will use this mu. Okay, we already tackled this earlier in our topic. Then the standard deviation of the sample is represented by the symbol S, is equals to the square root of the summation of the quantity x, or the sample itself, minus x bar, or the mean, close parenthesis, squared, over n minus 1. So we have to subtract the number of given minus 1. So next, we have the procedure for computing a standard deviation. Determine the mean of the n numbers. Second, for each number, calculate the deviation difference between the number and the mean of numbers. Third, calculate the square of each deviation and find the sum of these square deviations. Then fourth, if the data is a population, then divide the sum by n. So we already know how to determine a population or a sample, right? If the data is a sample, then divide the sum by n minus 1. Then find the square root of the quotient in step 4. So let's try this. So the following numbers were obtained by sampling a population. So it is already given here that we are dealing with population. 2, 4, 7, 12, 15. Find the standard deviation of the sample. So step 1, the mean of the numbers is 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 12 plus 15 is 40, and divided by 5 because we have 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is equal to 8. Step 2. For each number, calculate the deviation between the number and the mean. So we are going to get the deviation again. So the given number 2 minus 8 because our mean is 8. Then we have here 4 minus 8, 7 minus 8, 12 minus 8, and then 15 minus 8 is equals to 7. So we have to get the total of this. Negative 6 plus negative 4 plus negative 1 is negative 11. plus 4 is negative 7, plus 7 is 0. So, we are correct, guys, because our deviation is 0. So, for the step 3, calculate the square of each deviation in step 2 and find the sum of this squared deviation. So, here we are going to square this deviation results. So, negative 6 squared is 36. Negative 4 squared is 16. Negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 4 squared is 16. 7 squared is 49. Then negative 6 squared again here is 36. So we have sum of the squared. We have going to total this. So 36 plus 16 plus 1 plus 16 plus 49 plus 36 will give us the sum of 118. Okay, so let's continue. So in step 4, because we have a sample of n is equals to 5 values, we have to divide the sum 118 by n minus 1, which is 4. So 118 divided by 4 will give us 29.5. Now for the last step, the standard deviation of the sample is S is equals to the square root of 29.5. That will give us the standard deviation of 5.43. Okay? Class, did you follow that? So, did you guys follow this? So for this example, for this given example, it is sample of a population. So that's why we use n minus 1, because this is sample of a population. It is given in the problem. Okay? Gets, class? So let's move to other examples using standard deviation. In this example, we will use standard deviations to determine which company produces batteries that are most consistent with regard to their life expectancy. So a consumer group tested a sample of 8 size D batteries from each of 3 companies. The result of the test are shown in the following table. According to this test, which company produces batteries for which the value representing hours of constant use have the smallest standard deviation? So let's check. So our company is given. We have Eversobright, Dependable, and Beacon. The hours of constant use per battery is this. These are the datas: 6.2, 6.4, 7.1, 5.9, 8.3, 5.3, 7.5, 9.3. And this one is for the Dependable. This one is for the Beacon. So for our solution, class, we have to get the mean for each sample of batteries is 7 hours. Why 7 hours? Let's try to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, class. So it is given that our mean, the mean for each sample of batteries is 7 hours. So it is being tested in 7 hours. So the batteries from Eversobright have a standard deviation of this. The given samples, 6.2 minus 7. So the given test result, which is this, 6.2 minus 7. 7 here is the mean. 6.4 minus 7. Okay. So guys, if you will notice here, we use 7, not 7 minus 1, because we have 7 try, right? Because we have 7 hours. We are recording the result in each hour. So we have 7 results also if we have 7 hours. So if you're going to count this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's why uh, all the samples, no, it's not sample already. So the population is taken because we are going to test those samples or all that samples. Okay, so that's why we are going to assume that it is the population of the test. So that's why we are going to use 7 here, not 7 minus 1. Okay, did you get that? So this is 7, not 7 minus 1. So for the dependable company, we have this standard deviation. And the result is 0.719 hour. So for the Beacon company, we also use 7 here, not 7 minus 1. And the result is 0.877 hour. So our conclusion here is that the batteries from dependable have the smallest, which is 0.719. According to these results, the dependable company produces the most consistent batteries with regard to life expectancy under constant use. Okay, so let's move. So we have here the variance. The statistic known as the variance is also used as a measure of dispersion. The variance for a given set of data is the square of the standard deviation of the data. The following chart shows the mathematical notation that are used to denote standard deviations and variance. So notations for standard deviation and variance. Here, we have this symbol is the standard deviation of a population. So for this symbol, it is the variance of a population. So for this symbol, is the standard deviation of a sample. And for this symbol, it is the variance of a sample. So class, we are only going to square the standard deviation to get the variance. Okay? Just take note of that. So we have the example. Find the variance for the sample given. Find the standard deviation. Slide 38 of this PDF. So the solution, our slide 38 is this 29.5. So we're just going to repeat the procedure in getting the standard deviation. So this is the standard deviation, 5.43. And so the variance is the square of the standard deviation. Thus, the variance is the square of the standard deviation. Thus, the variance is square root of 29.5 squared is 29.5. So that will end our topic for statistics class. I hope you will review this video and the PDF, and please prepare for your quizzes next week. Okay, thank you.